Whether you're watching live or catching the recording of this, I'm just so thankful that you are taking time out of your day to listen. So again, thank you so much. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Dr. Shelley Bomick. I'm a preventive and lifestyle medicine doctor based in New York City, and I help people with burnout. So that could be, providing clinical care and coaching to individuals, and consulting with organizations, doing workshops and webinars, that sort of thing. So now, if you are signed up for this talk, you'll probably have noticed that this is called Bathroom Break. This series of lives are called Bathroom Break, and there's a reason for that. There's a method to my madness. The way that I see it in the workplace, the most important conversations that we have, they're typically not in the boardroom. They're in the bathroom. That's where people have privacy. That's where they feel safe to be themselves and to express themselves freely. And that idea of feeling safe, that is so important when it comes to something like burnout, because especially if you're a leader of an organization and you're trying to help your people with burnout, if they don't feel safe to get help, it's your efforts aren't going to work. You can throw whatever meditation app or free mental health sessions that you want at them, whatever HR resources you have, but if you can't cultivate that culture of safety, of psychological safety, those are not going to work. So again, that's why we are doing this Bathroom Break series. That's why we're creating this safe space for real conversations. And I am so thrilled because joining me, I will bring her on, is Amanda Moncada-Perkins. She is a phenomenal attorney based in Chicago. She's the founder of Stoutegy Law, and I'm honored to say that she is my friend as well. So Amanda, thank you so much for doing this first live with me.
Yes, I am so honored to be a part of your inaugural episode. And I'm really thrilled to talk about this topic because I think it's very important and top of mind for a lot of people today.
Yeah. Why don't you let folks know a little bit more about who you are and and the great work that you do too.
Yeah, okay. So thank you for that opportunity. As Shelley said, I am an attorney. My background is in corporate law. I'm a negotiator. I love negotiating. You'll hear me talk about that even today. I think it's a skill that all of us need to exhibit, to own, especially to advocate for ourselves. So this is a very timely episode for that reason also. But I work with small businesses. I certainly have a desire to empower women-owned businesses to, drive revenue, make sustainable changes, and so I do that through legal work, and I also do that through negotiation coaching. But there are conversations that often come up that will affect the decisions that business leaders are making, and part of that is burnout, and what are the decisions we're making in our businesses even that are affected by our personal issues that we're dealing with, and how do we navigate around them.
Yeah. No, I think this is a really timely conversation, and today's topic is what's fueling your burnout. So we're gonna dive deep into our own personal professional journeys in the field of law, in the field of medicine. What burnout looked like for us, and what was causing that burnout. I know that some folks may not know the definition of burnout. So let me say that real quick. So the definition, it was established by the World Health Organization in 2019, and burnout is basically it's an occupational syndrome. So it's something that happens in the occupational setting, and it's due to chronic workplace stress that's not well managed. And there are three particular characteristics to burnout. So one is low energy, so feeling depleted, exhausted. Another is feelings of negativism or cynicism related to your work. And then the third is decreased professional efficacy, so not performing like you're typically used to. So yeah, that's the definition of burnout. But tell me, Amanda, what has burnout looked like for you as a lawyer, as a female lawyer, as a woman of color lawyer? What was it like?
Yeah, so that is an interesting That's an interesting definition of burnout. It's you said the chronic stress. And I know that a lot of us can relate to the chronic stressors that we have going on in our workplace. And I think for me, one of those chronic stressors is just feeling like I needed to put on a face or occupy a caricature of myself in order to fit in. Knowing that I have high ambitions and I am very energetic, and I also love to connect with people. I'm a relationship builder. Um, I felt like those are parts of me that had to be suppressed in a way to show that I was very serious about the work and to show that I belonged there. And as a woman, there are stressors that we're all combating on a daily basis, right? So is my intonation just right? Am I laughing too much? If I talk about my children or my family, do I come across as not ambitious enough? And so I remember having instances where I was even afraid to laugh in the workplace. And I know that may seem so silly, but it's these small things, right, that add up and aggregate over time to the point where you start feeling dread in the pit of your stomach about going into a place of work because you can't be your authentic self, right? So laughing, I've learned is a huge value of mine. I want to enjoy the people I'm working with. I want to enjoy the work that I'm doing. And if I can't laugh with you, I can't work with you. And so I realized that for 4.5 years, I was suppressing that part of me. And so, I put on this stoic nature in order to fit in. And I realized
Mm.
like part of my talent comes from me being authentically me. Part of my talent comes from being able to connect with my clients and being able to show, yeah, I'm a lawyer, but I'm human. I understand what you're going through. I care about your business. I care about your success, right? And if I can't laugh and connect with you, then I'm just a paper pusher. And that's not within my nature.
Right.
But then again, also talking about my family or wanting to build relationships and understanding the people that I'm working with, like asking too many questions, like that could be seen as, you're a little bit too invested. Like I'm an empathetic
Mm.
person, and
Yeah.
those are parts of me that I know if I am able to lean into them, I can give my best work, right? As opposed to, oh my goodness, couching my smile, couching my care and concern and empathy so that I can fit into a fabric that, to be frank, was not ever made for me. Um,
Right, right.
that
You know,
burnout is so real.
it is so real. You know what I was gonna call all of this that you're describing?
Yeah.
I call it mental gymnastics. I didn't make that term up, but that is when I heard it, I was just like, "Yes, that is what I feel." There are so many things that happen in our minds before we even say a word or perform an action,
Right.
especially in the workplace, because we are just so conscious of what everyone else around us is thinking, saying, doing. And
Yeah.
yeah, and that pressure to conform, to be like everybody else, it really sets us up for failure because we can't rise, we can't shine if we can't be ourselves, right?
Right. Right. Yeah. Just to bring this point home, there was a former colleague of mine that made the comment like, why do I have to be even told in my workplace what kind of coffee to drink? Who gets to decide what kind of beverages are in the refrigerator? Like what if in my home, a malta is what I like to drink in the morning, right? Like, can I lobby to have that in there? Because drinking malta in the morning will bring me my best self, right? You're going to get the best, Amanda, if I get to drink that sweet spicy beverage.
I don't
Okay.
even know what that is, but it sounds so good. Just you even saying about it sounds so good. What is that?
Listen, it is a Caribbean beverage. For all of the folks tuning in that are Caribbean, they are like, yes, Malta. Amanda, are you drinking that every day? Not really. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. You know what I mean?
I
It's
feel
the
like I
little
should.
things that allow us to lean into who we are that will allow us to be our best selves and reduce burnout, is what I think.
Mm, mm. Yeah, yeah. No, I know we've talked before about how difficult it was, as a law student, as someone in big law, it just I mean, what were some things that you kind of learned from that experience, or what did as you were going through all of that training, what do you feel like fueled your burnout?
Um, you know, I realized that I had to ask myself a question because I also know that you've dealt with this intimately as well. But I think knowing that I couldn't be myself and I knew I would forever have to be a caricature of myself um, was really hard. It caused a lot of, it caused a lot of serious consequences.
Mm,
So there was a point in time where I was so divorced from who I am and what I love about me, that I had to like my therapy I had to go to therapy twice a week. Um,
mhm, mhm.
I was even, my anxiety was through the roof. I had a lot going on, and it got me to the brink of it's either this or me as a human. You
Mm,
know what I mean? And that was a breaking point where I was like, I can't I cannot wake up to this version of myself anymore, right?
right, right.
I have to choose something different, right? And my life is so much more meaningful than just showing up and playing a role, okay? Even actors get a break, okay? After they've done their shooting, okay?
Right,
But
right.
I decided it was either me or this. I decided to choose myself. It's a challenging decision, but here's the thing. There are a lot of people battling with that decision, and the real consequence is losing good talent, right?
Mm,
And organizations don't take this stuff seriously. People are getting wiser. They're going to
yeah,
start saying, I'm going to choose myself because I can't wake up to this version of me anymore. Um,
right,
but
right.
I know you have dealt with this intimately as well, and there are some gems that you can share with us too.
Yeah, yeah. No, I was gonna say, just on that last note about employers, losing their good people. They're, you know, the folks who are high achievers, the folks who are high performers, they're the ones that are leaving the workplace and not going back in this great, she session, resignation, whatever you want to call it. People are leaving because they're at that breaking point, and unless organizations really do something about it, it's going to continue to happen. I
Yeah,
feel like the pandemic and all that's happened the past couple of years has definitely fast forwarded things for a lot of folks, and myself included. Yeah, like you're describing, for me that breaking point was just at the beginning of 2020, before COVID really hit the US. I tell people I was literally at the edge of the subway platform, wondering if I should push myself over that edge, because it got to that extreme. It got that far. And and that's the whole reason why I do the work that I do, because I want to make sure that no other person, no other woman of color ends up at that extreme, at that edge. It's so important to be able to get people before it gets that far. Um, yeah.
ugh, I mean, you are really tugging at something inside of me because, I've been having real conversations with, attorneys in my life, women attorneys, and, they're tough conversations about even their worth and value, right?
Mm,
And there have been some very tragic consequences for people not being able to have these issues addressed in their workplace, and there are consequences to having people attribute their value to how well they fit into a non-normative standard, right,
mhm.
for our lives. And I really think we should not look past that. And the other thing I was going to say, Shelly, is that this pandemic has given some people reprieve
Mm,
from that,
see.
right? Me too.
Yes. Big
Um,
fans.
because you get a chance to sit back at home and let your hair down, so to speak, but just have that break from playing the role and take a deep breath, right? Don't get me wrong, burnout at home is another thing you got to kind of think about too, right? Because there's a lot of that. But just from a professional standpoint, you can see why a lot of people are like, you want me to go back to the office? What? You mean I have to go back and subject myself to that again?
Right.
Um, and I would say that was an unintended benefit, if you will, from this pandemic.
I
Mhm.
I tell people all the time, I was one of those folks who was so relieved to go into lockdown at the start of the pandemic. I needed that time and that space in
Right.
order to heal. And if I hadn't have gotten that time and that space, I don't think I would have made it to the other side of the
Mm,
platform edge, you know? I
yeah.
It was during that time, and I know we've talked about this before, the issue of colorism. For me personally, I realized in terms of what was fueling my burnout, being South Asian, being a female, being someone with dark skin, in our culture, in South Asian culture, that is just, that is it. You are looked down upon if you have dark skin. And that was a message that I got very early on in childhood. And it just seeped into my brain. It became hardwired into my brain that I would never be enough. And so I would need to do 110% every single thing that would come my way, just
Yeah.
to be potentially maybe close enough to the people at the top. And that, that constant pushing of myself of, okay, got to be the best, got to be perfect, got to, that's what pushed me to the edge. And I
Yeah.
know, I know for you, it was something similar in terms of when you were growing up. But yeah, it's
You are so right. I mean, the number of messages you carry with yourself and how you have to I feel like we're always fighting. Like, when do we get a chance to just be? Deep breath,
mm,
walk down the street, go to work and be like, today's going to be a good day and not have to worry about, well, is my hair a little bit too rough? Are they going to look, is it not straight enough?
right.
Is my skin a little bit too dark? Am I speaking a little bit too, culturally relevant for the people in the back to understand what I'm saying? Um, it's just really, it's a lot of juggling and my worth as a woman, if I say that I'm running a business, am I going to be looked down upon because I also have a child? And they're like, really? Do you have time for that? And I'm like, yeah,
Mm,
I do. My priorities ain't messed up. They're fine, and
mm,
so it's a lot. It's a lot of the messaging that we receive. We're constantly pounded over the head with, from our looks to our vocabulary to our choices on a daily basis. It's a lot to balance, and you're trying to meet everybody else's standard. How can you possibly, right? And
yeah.
so what I think is we're coming to a reality where people are like, I am beyond tired playing this game, playing this role, right? Being 110%, we don't get a break ever.
Mm,
And
mhm,
and it's something that I think also fuels our burnout, because I even heard a very well-known public figure say this recently, which is, you know, we always have to work twice as hard to just get half as much. And I've always believed that. And it's okay with me. It's not okay with me.
mm,
It's not
yeah.
me. Today it's not okay,
Right.
because I give my best and I should be allowed to take a moment off. Let me tell you something that actually was like another turning point for me.
I'm listening.
I
I'm
know
listening.
I don't mean to hijack your next question.
No, no, no. Well, I'll put
I
it up. I'll put it up just so that viewers know. But no, I want
Yeah.
to hear this.
So you just drove something in me, like this idea of you having to be on all of the time. I recall a conversation with a senior partner while I was on vacation, and I hadn't had a vacation in a while.
Mm,
With my husband to wherever we went. It was nowhere fancy, but it was nice enough for us to get relaxed. And I turned off my emails. My clients obviously knew I was going to be out of the office, and they were like, "Don't worry about anything." The partner emails me over the course of my vacation, and I didn't respond. I'm on vacation, right? Did you
right.
not get my out of office email? So anyway, when I came back, he was like, you need to answer your emails while you're on vacation. You
Oh,
don't get
wow.
that off. And I was like, when do I get time,
Wow.
right? According to you, when is that allowed? Ever, right?
Wow.
And so after having that conversation, I was like, you know what? It's gonna be like this. It's not gonna change. So I was like, I want to go on vacation and not have to worry about anything. I think this may be my last stint here.
Yeah, yeah. You were making me think about just the different positions that I've been in over the course of my career thus far. It started off in the clinical space, taking care of patients, and obviously there's a lot of burnout there with people, doctors, nurses, and anyone taking care of others. You see death, regularly. You see people who are sick. It's a lot. It's a lot, right? Um, But I remember one benefit of that I had being in that space was that when I left work, when I left the hospital, left clinic, work was there and I came home. Like, it didn't come home with me, you know? And then when I transitioned into a corporate position, that's when all of a sudden, I have my email and, I'm getting emails at 9 p.m. and, the work started to seep in, kind of like how you're talking about in terms of needing to check emails while you're on vacation. It's crazy. And now as entrepreneurs, now we're in this interesting space where we get to dictate how our time is spent. And, that's something that I'm still working on, trying to figure out, how do I not work all the time? How do I make sure I turn off so that I can get rest and not burn out? It's been different going through these different phases.
Right. Yeah. I mean, bad habits are hard to break, apparently.
Mhm.
So
Yes.
you don't just all of a sudden go from your corporate setting or wherever you were working yourself half into the ground, and then you become an entrepreneur or you go to a new job and you're like, it's all new. No, you have to readjust, you have to redefine. And I think it is a journey, but it's a journey that I now give myself space to take.
Mm.
And so I have now established, like, this was very hard, by the way. I've established a rule that I'm not taking calls after a certain time in the day.
Okay. Okay.
You don't get access to me all day. You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
here's the block of time you can schedule during that time and let's work together. And that by that
Right.
time anyway, you're getting the best of my energy at that point, right? I
Right.
got my
Right.
best morning, early afternoon. After that, it's like I'm keeling over in the corner somewhere, right? You're not going to get the best Amanda at that point.
Yeah.
But that's one way that I'm like, how do I reset expectations for people, but for me too, right? So
Mm.
that I can lean into taking care of myself a little bit more, right?
Yeah.
Um, if I want to, I don't think twice about like how I want to wear my hair now. I do not care. Like, no, if anyone ever tells me you need to wear your hair a certain way, we will never work together. Right?
Okay. Okay. Done. Done.
No,
Right?
right? I shouldn't be worried about like, oh my God, is this side pony gonna be too much for him today?
Which I
It's
love, by the way, which I love.
but
Yes.
do you know what I mean? It's like me, I'm trying to be intentional about what brings me peace and
Mm.
allows me to still do my best work. And I'm slowly but surely incorporating those things into my daily practice. And sometimes it's hard because I still have that perfectionism drive, and I'm still thinking about like, ooh, if I do this, does this look bad as on me as a woman, or does this look bad as me on me as a person of color?
Mm.
But then I have to be like, hold on, let me listen to the still small voice that says that's not the standard.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
How about you? What do you do? I'm like really curious.
Yeah, well, I as I'm hearing you speak, for me, one thing that I've realized, I have to give myself permission first. I am
Mm,
I am the a lot of times I am the main obstacle in my way. And so being able, I mean, literally talking to myself, being like, Shelly, it's okay. It's okay if that email doesn't get sent out tonight. You can do it tomorrow. Coaching myself
that's
down,
real.
that I have to do that a lot, because yes, it is, all of this stuff is hardwired into us. The great thing, though, the thing that gives me hope is that you can loosen the wires, this faulty wiring. You can create new thoughts, new loops. It doesn't have to be the same story over and over again.
Mhm.
And there's literally science to back that up. The whole field of neuroplasticity talks about that exactly. And so, yeah, that gives me hope. It gives me hope to know that it doesn't always have to be this way. You
You
know?
know, I there's something that you said that kind of reminds me of a conversation I had with a different partner, way back when, who said to me, woman partner, and I don't think I'll ever forget this. She was like, Amanda, you do great work. Here's my challenge for you. And I'm like, oh my God, what did I do wrong? And her
Mhm.
response was, I need you to care a little less.
Ooh.
I was like, mind blown.
Yes.
I could not appreciate what she was saying at the moment. I honestly thought she was like, it was like a trick, like
Yes.
she was like
Yes.
trying to catch me up somehow, right? That's where I was mentally. But
Yeah.
really what she was saying is, you're doing good work. It's okay to take it easy a little bit. And
Yeah.
she was like, "Your 75% is somebody else's 100%, Amanda. You're doing fine, right?" She
Yeah.
didn't say those exact words, but I interpret what she's saying now. And so today's Amanda realizes that I couldn't realize it back then. But to your point about you can still be just as effective and not like, obsess over the work is real because what things could we do in the workplace to make things just a little bit better?
Mm.
For instance, making it normal that you don't need to be sending emails at 7 o'clock. After 5 p.m., I'm pretty sure it's not an emergency. Half of the time it's not, unless you're a doctor, clearly.
Yeah.
But most things are not emergencies that can be taken care of the next day, right? These manufactured fire drills, we need
Yes.
to fire them,
Yes,
right?
yes. No, I keep thinking about the 80-20 rule, and I that's something that I started to use now too. I'll ask myself if I find myself agonizing over something, a blog post that I'm writing, I just stop and ask, "Okay, is this 80% done? It is? Okay, just hit send." That 20%, it's not worth killing ourselves for that 20% because who
Right.
really is gonna notice you know, no one notices except us, and if we can give ourselves that permission first to
I
just
love that.
to
Give
just
yourself
to just
permission.
be to just be. You said that earlier, and that really struck a chord with me. I want to be mindful of the time, of your time, of viewers' time, so we will need to wrap up, unfortunately, but where can folks find you?
Okay, LinkedIn is where you can find me. I am most active there. So, but my website can drive you to all of the locations. Stoutegy Law, Stoutegey, law.com. You can gain access to me that way. And sign up for our newsletter. We have some amazing announcements to drop as it relates to negotiating. I'm really excited to mention. So please sign up and follow me on LinkedIn.
Yes, I have to tell folks, negotiating, knowing your worth, these are some things that Amanda touches on in her work, and it I've done one workshop and I'm already mind blown. It's amazing. So go sign up for her newsletter. She drops so many gems. She's so helpful. And same with me. You can reach me at shellybowmick.com. You can DM me on LinkedIn as well. Would love to get in touch. And yeah, I think that's it for this first bathroom break.
Yes, I think this was phenomenal. I could talk to you forever, as you know, but please do have me back. I would love to keep our conversation going, but I will be tuning into your episodes, as you know. This is the first of many, and I hope that everybody had a chance to just soak up all of the amazingness that Shelly provides.
Likewise, likewise. Thank you so much, Amanda, and thank you all for tuning in. We will see you next time.